Ahead on the 30-minute news, we'll update the wild weather across the country. 2 people are dead in California for flooding, while freezing rain makes driving in our area treacherous. We'll also report on Johnson & Johnson's decision to halt production of Tylenol capsules. We'll report on the arrival in Dallas of Prince Charles, who is minus Lady Diana. And we'll meet some area people who would do just about anything to work at Walt Disney World. All of that plus a 1 in a million shot at $1 million just ahead on the 30-minute news.
This is WNYT, Albany. Ed Day, meteorologist Herb Stevens, and Bob McNamara with sports. This is the 30-minute news.
Good evening. The nation tonight is in the grips of some wild weather. California continues to get heavy rains, floods, and mudslides. Here in the capital region, snow, sleet, and freezing rain have made roads slippery and the driving treacherous. Police agencies in Catskill, Schenectady, and Saratoga Springs are reporting multi-vehicle collisions involving injuries tonight. Earlier today, 3 people escaped uninjured when this car slid out of control at an icy intersection in Niskayuna. Authorities say travel will be even slower in the morning as fog moves into the area during the night. Meanwhile, out west, there is still no relief tonight from the fierce storms that have battered that area over the past few days. Hundreds of people were evacuated from their homes in Northern California as torrential rains fell for the 6th day in a row. Rivers were cresting at record levels and flash flood warnings are in effect. The rains have also caused a rash of mudslides, bearing a lot of major roads. The storms were accompanied by high winds that were clocked as high as 100 miles an hour in some desert areas. You will no longer see Tylenol capsules on your grocery and drugstore shelves. The head of Johnson & Johnson says his company will no longer market capsules directly to consumers. He is urging customers to switch to Tylenol caplets. But federal officials say there is no need for other companies to follow suit. And Benita Zahn has more.
Johnson & Johnson will no longer manufacture or sell any capsule products made directly available to the consumer.
The move, says Burke, will cost Johnson & Johnson $150 million. But he says that doesn't compare to the loss suffered by the family and friends of the Westchester woman who died after taking a Tylenol capsule poisoned with cyanide. The company's decision was made with great reluctance, says Burke, and with a heavy heart, but decided this was the only course of action left open because the company cannot control random tampering with capsules after they leave the plant.
What we've really done here is to say to whoever made this act that you're not going to defeat us. We're coming back again, and we're going to give the consumer a safer, better product.
That product is a caplet, an oval-coated pill, which Burke says is as effective as the capsule. Caplets were developed after the 1982 Tylenol tamperings, and anyone with the capsules are urged to send them back to the company for replacement caplets. Benita Zahn, the 30-minute news, Albany.
The Philippines election officially ended over the weekend, but both candidates continue to claim the presidency. Today, President Reagan's special envoy, Philip Habib, met separately with the declared winner, Ferdinand Marcos, and the opposition leader, Corazon Aquino. President Marcos reportedly told Habib the United States has been misinformed about the behavior of Marcos supporters during the election. That is an apparent reference to charges of fraud, bribery, and violence against Marcos and his supporters. Mrs. Aquino told Habib that she objects to any action by the U.S. that would lend legitimacy to Marcos' victory. Mrs. Aquino vowed to continue her nationwide campaign of civil disobedience. A fire swept through the top floors of an office building in Rio de Janeiro today. Fire officials say at least 14 people are dead, and they may find more victims inside the 13-story structure. 3 of those killed jumped from the 10th floor ledge to escape the flames. Helicopters circling overhead tried to rescue those that had fled to the roof. Police say the fire broke out on the 9th floor and then spread to the floors up above. Prince Charles is in Texas tonight to help celebrate the Lone Star State's 150th birthday. The prince stepped off the plane at Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport to the sound of bagpipes playing the Yellow Rose of Texas. There has not been much publicity surrounding the royal visit, partly because that's the way the prince wanted it, and partly because he is traveling without his wife, Lady Diana.
Computers are the longhorn cattle of the 80s for Texas, and high-tech in action will be the focus of the Texas tour by Prince Charles.
We shocked the world when we introduced this device here, which is called the Xerox 914.
A Dallas computer marketing center will be a main stop on the Prince's itinerary. The building is modeled after London's Crystal Palace, a structure built in 1851, which served as the birthplace of the Industrial Revolution. Texas is a place where people appreciate simplicity. Its heroes are the dirt poor who persevere and then succeed. Prince Charles is like no one Texas has ever honored. Charles knows that and has sent word he wants to shed the royal rigmarole.
And the representatives of Great Britain have emphasized to us that they are mostly interested in seeing Texas and Texans and seeing Texas the way a Texan would.
But Charles will not put on boots and visit a Texas honky-tonk for a cold beer. The Prince of Wales will get a private concert from the king of country music.
Well, we're going to do the one we just did a while ago, No Place But Texas, and I don't know, we'll probably do about 30 minutes. I'm not sure what songs we'll do.
Design and develop information.
And while the Prince marvels at the wonders of high-tech Texas, Charles might have a few historical regrets. All this might have been British if his ancestors would have just stopped raising the taxes. Jim Mohr for NBC News, Dallas.
Ahead on the 30-minute news, Off-Track Betting opens a new showcase, and Honda Motor Company changes its marketing strategy. Area residents are giving the new OTB Teletheater a tryout tonight. This theater is the first of its kind in the state, and it had its grand opening this morning on Central Avenue in Albany. The business became a reality despite 14 years of planning and controversy. Citizens groups had protested, saying the business would destroy their neighborhood. But OTB President Davis Etkin says local residents are now welcoming the theater, and he says it will be an asset to the community. Etkin says the facility will bring about 150 new jobs to the area. Officials are expecting betting action at the theater to top $15 million in the first year. If you are getting tired of the weather in New York, how does a job in Florida sound? Well, corporate representatives from Walt Disney World were at Schenectady Community College today looking for recruits. The jobs require working long hours and holidays for just over $4 an hour. But as Chris Brunner reports, there are plenty of interested parties.
Joe Barnes is enrolled in the assistant chef program here at Schenectady Community College, and he's talking to a corporate recruiter.
The rate of pay is $4.25 an hour. Do you understand that?
Joe has just told Jill Jeter he doesn't mind working overtime or even holidays. And the same goes for Denise Tucker, who is in the hotel program. She's all set to go to Walt Disney World. Twice a year, recruiters from the Magic Kingdom come to Schenectady, and there's no shortage of recruits. Every year, about 50 Schenectady County Community College students join the ranks of Walt Disney World, and the Walt Disney people are frank to admit that this weather is one of their best recruiting tools.
Right now it's about 75 degrees, whereas it's in the 20s here.
Disney employs 20,000 people at its 27,000-acre facility, and to get help, they have to recruit nationwide. They come to colleges like Schenectady Community and trade low-paying jobs for 6 credits toward a degree.
We don't want students to come down on the program, once they get down there, realize that it's not what they expected, and then go home.
Denise Tucker used to be a family planning counselor. Now, at 34, she's changing careers after a visit to Disney World.
And I decided then and there that I wanted to be a part of that business somehow. So this is a start.
It was nice to meet you, Joe. Take care.
It'll be a couple of weeks before these students find out if they're on their way to a job at the Magic Kingdom. Chris Brunner, the 30-Minute News, Schenectady.
The Honda Motor Company has long been known for economy cars, but now Honda plans to introduce 2 new models aimed at the upscale market. The new cars will be sold through a sales network separate from Honda dealerships. One will be a luxury car called the Legend, bearing a price tag of $19,000. Its sporty counterpart will be called the Integra and will have a base price of around $9,000. Honda officials were asked what prompted this new line.
Our research tells us that the luxury sporty car market is going to more than double in size in the United States, and we believe we can supply this upscale consumer with the type of luxury, sporty, performance-oriented automobile that he's looking for.
Those new cars are set to go on sale now on March 27th. In tonight's Money Info segment, cash in your wallet is being phased out. Hard cash is fast becoming extinct, and one thing taking center stage is the debit card. Debit cards look just like credit cards, but the money comes from a bank account rather than from a line of credit. The cards can be used at gas stations and other convenient locations, and they can eliminate stretched credit limits and the need to carry large amounts of cash. Police reduce the fear of crime and scare away criminals by 2 traditional methods. Studies show walking beats and talking to people. Studies were done on the subject in Houston and Newark, New Jersey. Subjects said they felt safer and were more willing to report crimes after daily police contact. When we come back, our daily contact with Herb, who will have the forecast, but first we'll take a look at tonight's winning lotto numbers, which are 6, 11, 15, 16, 32, and 37.
Meteorologist Herb Stevens and Norm Sebastian are both accredited members of the American Meteorological Society.
Last week, things were so tranquil, so placid all across the country. It was great. It's nice to have a breather like that in the middle of the winter, but boy, what a difference a week makes. We have got so much weather to talk about from coast to coast, from border to border. It is a mess across the United States. Let's take a look at the current conditions as we start off. We're taking a look on a nice day, and there wasn't much of this in the United States today. This is the lighthouse at Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Cloudy skies, temperature's 30 degrees. It's back down below freezing. Last hour we were at 33, but it's dropped back down, so the roads are still slick. The dew point's 30. The relative humidity is 100%. The barometer is holding steady, and the winds are from the northeast at 7 miles per hour. And as long as we have a northerly component in the wind, we will continue to funnel in cold air, cold enough to keep the frozen matter on the ground frozen. The high today was 33. That occurred last hour. 24 was the low. 26/100ths of an inch of water so far in the various and sundry forms of precipitation we've had since midnight last night. We had 2.1 inches of snow officially at the airport. All right, the temperatures are there. We're taking a look at the 11 o'clock readings. To the north, it is still below freezing. We're close to the borderline right here in the Capital District, 32 degrees still in Poughkeepsie. There's a variety of precipitation on the map. We have some freezing drizzle, a little comma underneath the one of the humps in the symbol here, and a dot underneath that hump indicates freezing rain, and that's what's going on at Springfield right now with a temperature of 30 degrees. Snowing in Montpelier, but the snow is very, very light off to the southwest. The problem is fog. It's very warm air is riding over the snowpack on the ground, and that contrast causing the fog. Zero visibility right now at Binghamton, and it's just kind of murky down to the south, and we're going to see a lot of murky weather here the next 2 days. Now, as we take a look at the satellite picture, you can see that the clouds are rather dominant across the northeast. And before we move on to the other satellite picture, let's take a look at our radar. It's not really busy compared to what it was at 6 o'clock, but we do have a few areas of precipitation down toward Lee and Stockbridge and across further east in Massachusetts. Sleet, freezing rain, and probably a little bit of rain, too, at the southern end of the echoes. The rest of what you see is ground clutter, and this precipitation is moving northeastward slowly at about 15 miles per hour. Now, let's go back to the satellite picture and take a look at the national shot. And the first thing that you see that really catches your eye is this bright shade of white here in Mississippi and also down toward Pensacola. Severe thunderstorms. Yes, when you get a contrast in air masses like we have right now, you're going to get some wild weather, and there is plenty of wild weather out in the west. Skywatch radar showing the precipitation there. We've got snows in the mountains, but part of the problem in the west right now is the fact that the snow level is up so high, so it's raining even up to 7,000 feet, and that rain is rolling right down the mountainsides. Heavy thunderstorms. You can see the bright red on our Skywatch radar. There were tornadoes today in parts of Tennessee. No deaths, but there was some damage and a few injuries, and that wild weather continues in that part of the country tonight. Big, broad trough at the surface, and without a real sharp trough, you won't get a very strong storm system, but we do have a lot of little storm systems on the map. The map is a real mess, too, but this is a very complex situation. High pressure in Canada, funneling in the cold air down low. Warm air, record warmth, 90 degrees in Laredo, Texas this afternoon. Warm air coming northward at the higher level. So we started out with snow, we've changed to freezing rain, and then we're eventually going to go over to rain tomorrow. These weak systems will continue to move to the east over the next couple of days. There's no chance of any sunshine of any duration. Cold air will come in Wednesday, colder air as the second storm comes in. And it looks like we'll have some more problems late in the week as some of the major problems in the west, some of that energy will move into the east. We'll have cold air. It looks like we'll have a repeat of the mess on Friday. California right now, there are places with 20 inches of rain in the last 4 days, and they're expecting another 10 inches. They've got mudslides. There are avalanches in the mountains of Idaho and also in Utah. Record heat, as I mentioned, here in southern Texas, and dense fog, zero visibility in Chicago right now, all the way over to Buffalo. Heck, there was even a thunderstorm around Jamestown last hour. It's crazy. Let's take a look at the details of the forecast. Patchy
Fog, that's going to be a problem if you're traveling. There'll be some spotty freezing drizzle. Way down south, it's warm enough, though. It'll just be in the form of rain overnight. Temperatures should rise a few degrees as we go toward morning tomorrow. A few showers moving in, rain showers in the afternoon. The only freezing will be way up north tomorrow. Dismal, whatever the word is you want for tomorrow night. It's ugly. And then on Wednesday, showers again as cooler air comes in. And I think we're going to go through the messy weather, snow, sleet, freezing rain scenario on Friday again.
Too far away to worry
Problems
about.
in California are monumental.
They sure are. We saw a tape of them earlier at the lead story tonight.
Nice place to live, but it seems like once a year they get hit with it. They don't mess around when they get a storm.
You do it up right out there. Thank you, Herb. Yeah. Tonight's Health and Science Info segment will tell you the chicken is being put on a diet. Are you turned off by fat legs and chubby thighs? Well, now there's light chicken. The poultry is actually bred in such a way as to remove excess fat, so not only are the birds trimmer, you'll help yourself cut down on calories and fat as well. The hormones released during breastfeeding can keep you from getting pregnant. For this reason, it may be better than all other forms of contraceptives combined in controlling population in the third world countries. Many couples who refuse contraceptives switch to breastfeeding. They find it reduces disease, is nutritious, and inexpensive. Ahead in sports, a whole season wrapped up into one game tonight for a couple of top area basketball teams. And at the Washington Avenue Armory, it was the night of the super shot. Mac has it all next. Well, if the Continental Basketball League had any moxie, they'd give the ball to Mac and let you try this super shot, and Deadeye McNamara would be a millionaire.
You think so?
No, but it makes for a good line.
I'll tell you that. But they did have the super shot tonight. Yeah. People are catching on to this. The place may be half filled for the extravaganza, and I use the word loosely. Here to tell us what happened is Gary Apple.
Oh boy, there was electricity in the air at the Armory tonight. One of these randomly selected 10 men would have a crack at an instant $1 million. Then it came down to these two, and just like the Miss America pageant, you could pick out the finalists. He was 18-year-old Ben Keyser of Del Mar. Is it true you've never shot a basketball before?
Yeah, never shot a basketball in my life.
Oh, quite a choice. And then the moment of truth. 65 feet, 9 inches, pressure, excitement. For Ben, visions of the Caribbean, a Rolls Royce, a chance to drop out of high school and join a country club. But it would not fall. He then missed the chance at the $1,000 foul shot. Again, a lot more air. And then finally, he dunked a Nerf ball to pick up $100. What was going through your mind when it was going through Rolls Royces, maybe a trip to France?
Porsche.
By the way, at the $1 Million Shootout, a hoop game broke out, and the Pats beat Pensacola 104-103 behind 30 split Wheeler points. Gary Apple, the 30-minute news in Albany.
Big news in the NBA today made off the court, where the Houston Rockets announced that center Akeem Olajuwon will be out of action for at least 2 weeks. The injury strained ligaments of the right knee happened here Saturday when teammate Robert Reed inadvertently hit Olajuwon from the side, and he pitched onto the floor in action against the Clippers. For Houston, just a tough break. In court action tonight, Cleveland beats the Knicks by 14. Ewing sat it out again. Dallas by a couple over New Jersey. Orlando Blackman couldn't miss. He had 42 in that. Indiana beat Chicago by 14. Seattle a 13-point winner over Atlanta. Detroit by a big 21 over Utah. Milwaukee 5 over Philadelphia. And at the half, Phoenix leads Boston 56-55. In college hoops tonight, Pearl Washington had 23 points and 5 assists to lead Syracuse over homestanding Pittsburgh 69-62. Pearl got the big hoop of the game right here with the drive with 1:40 left to put the Orange up by 3. Then he hit both ends of a 1-and-1. Pittsburgh couldn't come back. Wendell Alexis also played well for the Orange tonight, by the way. So did Mr. Trish. In defeat, Demetrius Gore had a game, a career-high 22 for Pittsburgh. All the rest of tonight's college scores on the TV 13 Sports Line. Just call 436-0712. Well, barring any unforeseen circumstances, this scene will be repeated at the RPI Fieldhouse in Troy on March 29th. Mike Tyson's next area bout, we have learned, will be right back here in Troy against knockout artist James Quick Tillis. You can't buy any tickets yet. You really can't do much of anything until they make the whole thing official. But in all probability, it'll happen. Tillis with a bunch of lifetime KOs. In fact, he knocked down Larry Holmes before losing out in his bid for home title. Tyson, of course, with 18 straight KOs, the latest coming here against ESPN champion Jesse Ferguson yesterday in Troy. In local hoops, one-game playoff tonight between Catskill and Hudson for the Patroon Conference title at Columbia Green Community College. And with a capacity crowd looking on, Kyle Lyles, number 43 in orange, played maybe the game of his career as Catskill won it 52-50. Lyles superb, scoring 22 points, including 2 big free throws in the final minutes, as Catskill just managed to hang on. Lyles also gathered in 16 rebounds. Best for Hudson tonight, Steve Withersby. Withersby had 15 points. Historic day at Saratoga this afternoon, where driver Bill O'Donnell got career win number 3,000. Gary Apple was there.
It all boiled down to the 10th and final race this afternoon. O'Donnell had burned it up so far, winning 6 of 9. But on horse number 4, D.B. Matt, it didn't look like he would get there. But then we found out why they call him the Magic Man. A great stretch run and win number 3,000.
You know, come up here today, I looked at the program. I thought I had a chance to win maybe 4 or 5, but no, I didn't think I could win that many. So I won my 1,000th race here in the 2,000 at the Meadowlands, and I'm back here for 3. Maybe I can come back for 4.
That would be nice. Gary Apple, the 30-Minute News, Saratoga Springs.
A little late, folks, right now. Here's Ed.
Thanks, Mac. Just ahead, we will watch the downfall of a well-known luxury hotel. In tonight's People Info segment, Klaus von Bülow earned some extra cash. After having been cleared during 2 sensational trials of trying to kill his wife with insulin injections, Klaus von Bülow is turning toward more literary pursuits. He will review 2 books about the wealthy Getty family, which once employed him. Von Bülow will get paid about $1,000 per publication for his reviews. They will appear in the Washington Times and New York Magazine. Olympic gymnast Mary Lou Retton has pushed breakfast cereals and batteries, and now she's pushing something she really has a vested interest in. Miss Retton will be doing spots for Humana Incorporated, a giant hospital chain based in Louisville, Kentucky. The gold medal winner will talk about how the hospital treated her right knee, which was injured just 6 weeks before the Olympic Games in 1984. And finally tonight, the Continental Hotel in Mexico City is no more. The 14-story luxury hotel built during the 1950s was devastated by last year's earthquake. But the shell withstood the tremor. It had to be demolished. So yesterday, the hotel was loaded with tons of explosives and reduced to a pile of rubble. Take that personally, because just a couple of weeks ago, Mac sold me that hotel and miss it. That's the report tonight. I'm Ed Degg. Tonight's show up next. We will be back again tomorrow night at 6. Hope to see you then. Drive carefully if you're going to be out on the roads tonight and in the morning. See you tomorrow. Have a good night.